it has been a weak show from music broadcast this time around, with profits declining as much as 11%. To help us decode the earnings in further detail, joining us on the show is Apurva Purohit, Director at Music Broadcast Limited, and Saloni Dhanuka from our research team also joins in the conversation. Saloni, over to you.
So good afternoon, ma'am. Though revenues were up 10%, it has been an overall muted quarter. Can you run us through some of the key financial highlights first?
You're absolutely right that the quarter has been muted for the entire industry, as we can see from the several results that have already come out. However, I'm very happy to tell you that we have grown at double digit, and this is the second quarter this year that we've grown at around 10%. So at an H1 level, our growth has been 11% in our top line. We have also been able to maintain our margins at 32%, which again, as we know, the kind of headwinds that everybody has faced, to maintain a margin of 32% with new stations also rapidly expanding in the same quarter is a creditable performance. Our PAT has grown on a quarter-to-quarter basis by 17%. So these are the few highlights of this quarter.
Also, ma'am, how has the quarter been in terms of GST impact? Is it all behind us? Do you think the overall ad spend has come back already?
If you look at quarter two, which was really the first quarter when the GST impact was felt, July, August were very, very bad months for everybody. September, from middle of September, started doing well, and then of course the festive season started. So obviously there has been an improvement September 15th onwards. Having said that, we think that the impact of GST will be there for some more time till our advertisers get through all the implementation problems that they are currently facing. So we do believe that the headwinds will continue for some time. However, it's only after November will we really know whether the uptake that we've seen in the festive quarter was only because of the festive quarter or there is a general resurgence. We will only come to know after November.
Can you also discuss growth on new stations and old station, also pricing trends in legacy markets, ma'am?
As I mentioned, we've grown at 10% in quarter two and at 11% in H1. I think we'll possibly be amongst the very, very few media organizations that will show double-digit growth in H1. Half of this growth has come from our legacy markets and half the growth has come from our new stations. Legacy markets have largely grown on the back of price increases that we started taking in April, May, and the new markets obviously have all grown through the volume expansion route.
Can you also share some details on capacity utilization level and revenue per minute seen in this quarter?
If you look at utilization levels, in our legacy markets, the utilization levels have been between 65 to 75%. With the start of the festive season, obviously those moved up to around 80-85%. In all the new markets, utilization has been around 25 to 35%.
And my last question to you, ma'am, is Radio City has recently entered into an exclusive collaboration with Apple Music to offer curated playlists to Apple Music users. Any thoughts on that?
We are of course very happy to have done this partnership where we are the only radio player who Apple tied up with to provide curated playlists. We obviously hope to take this partnership forward in doing more such innovations with them. I think it's also a sign of the fact that the amount of effort we put in researching our music really is something that Apple thought would add to their own playlists, because we have a huge database of the likes and dislikes of music tastes in the country. And I think that partnership will work very well, because Apple itself will have its own database and analysis of what songs are getting downloaded. And I think both these databases coming together will ultimately end up giving listeners a very, very high quality listening experience.